My neighbor was supporting
Elon Musk.
That's what you voted for. What do you mean?
We don't read.
So we're just gonna
A new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the...
No, the hell he doesn't. During the last trade war, we saw an increase in farm bankruptcies. We lost 90% of our soybean sales the week the tariffs went on. And that was just playing FAFO in one country. Now the whole world's tariff. I dropped my phone. Soybeans are currently down 28 today. Corn was leaking lower about 5 to 7 cents, and now it's looking at like it's 2 to 1 penny across the board. Crude's down to $61.99, which means no drill, baby, drill. Live cattle are down 4, feeder are down 6. Hogs are down 3, cotton's down almost 3, and the dollar can't decide if it wants to be weaker or stronger. Trump doesn't love the American farm. He doesn't understand how tariffs work.
As of right now, the thing that pisses me off the most, Agriculture Secretary Brooks Rollins sits on live TV on Fox News with the stock market crashing next to her face in real time, saying, "We're just really, really grateful for Donald Trump in this." The interviewer asks, "Well, what is this going to do to America's farmers?" And her answer is, "We'll see." This is level of propaganda and complicitness that is so unacceptable. I've never been so upset at how many people are allowing the dumbest man in the world to continue to make bad decisions and to have their stance be, "We'll see. I don't know. Gosh, golly, this 80-year-old man thinks it'll work." Who cares? Who cares what this man thinks? Do something for American people. Give a shit about us for once. Not "we'll see" propaganda.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joy Report. In today's video, we're going to talk about Iowa farmers effing around and finding out. What do you get when you vote for someone who promises the world only to rip the rug out from under you? A front row seat to your own downfall. Iowa farmers, some of the most loyal Trump supporters in the country, are waking up to a nightmare they never saw coming. Billions in funding gone, global markets collapsing, and programs that kept their farms alive terminated. And here's the kicker. It didn't have to be this way, but when you F around, well, you already know what happens. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing so that YouTube may recommend it to a wider audience. And so now, without further ado guys, let's go straight into this video. But first, let me play you a few videos on this matter and I'll come back with my commentary. As a side note, all credit goes to the creators of these videos.
We just want to work, sell our crop, and have a decent life like everybody else. But if they would just leave it alone.
This trade war is going to impact literally every corner of the country. Some of those who are most uncertain about what this is going to mean is those in agriculture and farming. Like here, corn and soybean farmers and pork producers. Where does this trade war end?
I don't know where it ends. I hope it ends soon.
What is your message to the Trump administration?
Just stay out of it. I mean, if they would just leave it alone and let the free market do its job, everything would be okay.
This is going to be so far reaching, not just because of the Trump administration's tariffs of goods imported into the United States, but it's about the question marks in the days ahead about the retaliatory tariffs that the likes of China, Canada, potentially Mexico, and Europe are going to place on U.S. goods that are either produced, like corn and soybeans, or manufactured and sent overseas.
The USDA has decided to end an $11 billion program they had with Iowa farmers that was started about 3 years ago during the pandemic. And this particular program was for Iowa farmers to grow food for food pantries and school food programs. These programs helped farmers develop more efficiencies with their farming techniques, but it also helped them move more product. Now, farmers say they knew that the program would end at some point, just not right now, considering they were already prepared for the next 3 years that were remaining in this current program. This end to this USDA program is going to end programs like local food for schools and subsidies where certain organizations would give like $1,000 to local schools to buy fresh organic food. In the meantime, they're asking people to support these local Iowa farmers because now they've got to move this product. A big problem.
I want to focus this body's attention on our nation's farmers and ranchers who seem to be getting punched day after day, week after week by the Trump-Musk oligarchy. Whether it's their harmful tariffs that hurt our soy and corn farmers, canceling and freezing more than $1 billion in funding for schools and food banks to purchase food from local farmers, or halting reimbursement and contract payments that our farmers are already owed. My neighbors in Iowa over time now have lost over $4 million in USDA food commodity sales. They have gained they had a total of over $149 million in purchases through USDA and other programs for USAID. I think that our farmers have been hit with body blow after body blow from this administration, an administration that in their first term and even in the second term promised that they would look out for America. But I have to say to my friend from New Jersey, I don't think that this administration has lived up to their promises to farmers. Remember that a nation that cannot feed itself, if we lose those family farms, if we lose our ag sector, we cannot lead the free world. We cannot feed ourselves. And frankly, farmers have been hit over and over again. These incoming tariffs are going to be disastrous for our farmers.
Let's keep it real. When Trump ran for office, he won big in places like Iowa. Rural voters showed up for him in droves. Many farmers were convinced he was the guy who'd finally have their back. They believed he understood them, their struggles, and their values. But fast forward to 2025, farmers who stood in long lines to cast their vote, proud and hopeful that they were choosing someone who would finally prioritize rural America, are watching the ground collapse under their own boots. Let's rewind for a second. Iowa turned out big for Trump in 2024. The campaign made it feel like a revolution for the forgotten farmer. There were rallies, big promises, and plenty of talk about protecting American farmers. Trump said he'd save farming. He said he'd crush the bureaucracy that was holding rural America back. But now, just months into this administration, it's crystal clear. Those promises were nothing but smoke. The USDA, under Trump's administration, has officially cut off two major programs that Iowa farmers were counting on: the Local Food for Schools, LFS, and the Local Food Purchase Assistance, LFPA programs. Now, these weren't just random side projects. These programs were vital. They connected local farmers with schools and food banks, creating a steady local market for their produce. It wasn't just smart, it was working. Schools got fresh food, communities got fed, and farmers got paid. Iowa alone was supposed to receive $11.3 million in funding from these programs between 2025 and 2028. That money wasn't just sitting around. Farmers had plans for it. They bought equipment, expanded their operations, and hired workers. They were optimistic for the first time in a while. But out of nowhere, the USDA pulled the plug. No warning, no alternative, just a straight-up cancellation. But here's the thing, this wasn't the first sign of betrayal. This story didn't start with a budget cut. It started with a trade war, one that Trump himself launched years ago and continues to escalate. It was all under the guise of getting tough on China. The message was strong, the delivery confident. But while the crowd cheered, China struck back. And it struck back hard.
I've seen a 20 to 25% increase in my farm's revenue through these programs, which is a huge deal for me as a startup farmer to demonstrate and quickly build up viability and profitability right off the bat in those kind of crucial first years. And it's allowed me to reinvest that money that I've gotten through those programs to build capacity to scale up my vegetable production. I became a farmer because I want to feed my community, feed my neighbors, and I want to make sure that local healthy food is accessible to everyone in the community. The fact that I'm facing a 20 to 25% decrease in revenue for my farm at the same time that I'm trying to make a case to loan officers at the USDA and at banks to demonstrate my profitability to buy farmland really puts in jeopardy the future of my farm and of my livelihood.
To have that cutback right at the beginning of the season means we have to scramble now to try to figure out where sales are going to go. By building the infrastructure in Iowa for small local foods, it's not just small farmers, like larger farmers too could contribute to local food. It's an acre by acre basis, and every acre helps, and it's something that anybody can get into. Once the infrastructure is there, then it's easier for anybody to get involved, and it's a way to make money, and we want to focus on not taking opportunities away from Iowa farmers, but like giving opportunities to Iowa farmers.
China slapped steep tariffs on American farm products. The biggest blow landed on soybeans, one of Iowa's most important crops. For years, China had been the #1 buyer of US soybeans. It was a steady billion-dollar relationship, but after Trump's tariffs, China has shifted gears. Thanks to this ongoing trade war and tit-for-tat tariff battle, those doors are closing fast. Farmers are sitting on silos full of soybeans with nowhere to go. And now, things just got worse. In a move that sends shockwaves through the ag industry, China shut down purchases of all U.S. soybean exporters. It's all about politics, leverage, and retaliation, and it's working. The damage is deep. Farmers who once had guaranteed buyers are now sitting on unsold crops. Prices are dropping. Equipment payments are due. Loan interest is piling up. Some farms might not make it through the year. And all of this is happening in a state that overwhelmingly supported Trump in 2024, thinking he was the man to protect their interests.
Doug Fuller's family has been farming in northern Polk County for generations.
Now I get to call all the shots.
He's already nervous about the cash crop he's about to start planting. Soybeans are the target of China's retaliatory tariff, 10% on certain imports from the United States, in response to President Trump's 10% blanket tariff on Chinese goods. Fuller is fearful it spells bad news for the 2025 harvest.
You know, they aren't good for the other countries, they aren't good for me, and who could blame them putting reciprocal tariffs on us? You know, it's just a match, you know, and nobody's going to win.
China is one of the largest overseas markets for American soybeans. According to the USDA, the United States exported nearly $13 billion in soybeans to China last year alone. Fuller has already faced 2 years of bean prices dropping and says it looks as if the trend may continue.
Last year we took a step back, and now we're taking another step back. So I'm, you know, many of us we'll get through it, and it's going to be tough on others.
Estimates show that China's retaliatory tariffs could cost American soybean farmers roughly $5.9 billion in lost revenue. How are you and other farmers reacting?
We're very concerned, Phil. We have a precedent from the trade war we went through about 7 years ago that was devastating to the American soybean farmer. Over that period of time, we lost nearly $20 billion of trade with China. Trade is 50% of the acres that are produced in the United States, and of that, currently 25% of our soybeans that we raise go to China.
On the heels of Washington's latest tariff hikes, Beijing shut down all U.S. soybean purchases and slashed lumber imports, delivering a direct hit to industries that generated $28.5 billion for the U.S. economy in 2023, according to USDA data. The move signals a critical escalation, but this isn't just economic retaliation, it's a calculated shift in global trade power. And here's the real problem. China isn't just playing defense anymore. It's setting the terms. And now, Beijing has issued its starkest warning yet, calling this an all-out economic war. But what does that mean for the U.S. economy, and who really holds the leverage in this battle? Soybeans account for 60% of all U.S. agricultural exports to China, with the country purchasing $14.2 billion worth in 2022, making it America's largest buyer, according to the USDA. Cutting these imports doesn't just hurt farmers, it destabilizes a core sector of U.S. trade. In 2018, when Beijing first reduced soybean purchases, U.S. farm bankruptcies spiked by 20% within a year, per the American Farm Bureau Federation. The same threat looms now, as soybean prices have already fallen 7% since China's latest restrictions were announced, per Bloomberg.
So let's really sit with that for a moment. These farmers voted for him. They believed in him. They defended him. And what did they get in return? Gutted programs, lost markets, and economic instability. These are the direct results of choices made by the current leadership. These decisions weren't inherited. They were created. The worst part is that many of these farmers don't really care about politics. They're just hardworking people who wanted someone to listen to them. They were tired of being ignored. They were hoping for change, but instead of receiving help, they're being tossed aside like a used campaign prop. It's brutal, and now they're finding out. You can't say you support farmers, then turn around and kill the programs that keep them going. You can't brag about America first while letting China lock American farmers out of the global trade. And it sure as hell can't claim to be for the working class while making it harder for working people to survive. This is what FAFO looks like in real life. It's not a meme anymore. It's not a punchline. It's a father looking at his empty bank account, a mother wondering how to pay for fertilizer this season, a young farmer questioning if it's worth it to stay in the business their grandparents built. And let's not forget, the impact doesn't stop at the farm gate. When farmers suffer, entire communities feel it. Schools lose partnerships. food banks lose supplies, local businesses lose customers, the whole system starts to crumble, and while Washington plays games, Iowa pays the price. And to be honest, it's heartbreaking. Nobody wants to see family farms go under. Nobody wants to see rural communities suffer. But we can't keep pretending this is just bad luck. This is policy. This is cause and effect. This is the cost of putting faith in someone who never truly had your best interest at heart. So what do you all think? Do you think Iowa farmers will still support Trump after this? Should they have seen this coming? And can this damage even be reversed at this point? Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video about Trump's alleged third term in office. And if you enjoy such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.